built the house brick by brick for the children who never returned, and when they finally did, it was too late. It was supposed to be a joyful morning, the housewarming of her dream home, the very one she had worked her bones to build for over 25 years. The villagers called it Obioma's Palace, a sprawling bungalow of white walls, golden trimmings, and a compound wide enough to host an entire August meeting. But no one knew the truth. No one knew that Mama Iberi built that house alone, brick by brick, prayers by prayers, sacrifice by sacrifice. Her husband had died earlier. Her 4 children had all jackpot abroad, 2 in the UK, 1 in Canada, and the last in the US. They sent WhatsApp messages and voice notes, but they never came home. Not for Christmas, not for her 60th birthday, not even for her cancer diagnosis. Well, she didn't tell them. Villagers arrived in their most colorful dresses, dancing to the loudspeakers that blared flavor songs. Women from the Women's Union cooked with sweat and laughter. Palm wine flowed. Guests admired the house with envy. Mama Iberi was inside. She sat alone in the sitting room. Her wrapper was clean, her hair braided, her skin glowing as white as a camphor and Vaseline, but her eyes, they watched the front gate like a prisoner waiting for mercy. Maybe they will surprise me, she whispered to herself. The MC announced their names one by one. Chuka, her first son, coming all the way from Manchester. Adora, her only daughter from Calgary. Uche, the software engineer in Atlanta. And Kelechi, our baby boy from Brigham. The crowd clapped, but no one came, and there was silence and whispering amongst the crowd. She locked the door quietly while the celebration continued outside. She walked to her room, sat on her bed, took off her gold earrings, the ones she bought to impress Adora, folded her hands in her lap, then she lay down. By evening, when they realized she hadn't been seen in hours, they broke the door. The house fell silent. Someone screamed. A child began to cry. Mama Iberi laid cold, peaceful, almost smiling but gone. The crowd became a funeral. The music was shut off. The MC removed his cap. A goat tied in the black bag began bleating as if it says what happened. Someone whispered, "She died alone." 7 days later, the rain returned. A neighbor reported that the lights in the house kept turning on at night. The caretaker who had locked the doors swore he heard Mama Iberi's voice singing her favorite hymn, Nara Narai, Narekele, Narekele Mu. The children finally called, each of them, same day, same time, same words. I had a dream. Mama was standing by the gate, crying. The rain hadn't stopped since the day she died. The compound that once echoed with laughter now wept silently. Empty chairs leaned against the wind. A forgotten wrapper flapped on the floatline like a mourning flag. Then came the hymn of engines. Not 1, but 4. 4 black XUVs, tinted, polished, foreign plate numbers. The villagers stepped aside whispering, the children had finally come. Wonder shall not end. After all these years, now wow. When the house is already a grave, it's well. The car doors opened one by one. Chuka, 38 years old, Mama's womb opener. Adora, 35 years old, Mama's Ada. Uche, 32 years old, Mama's Mporanya. Kelechi, aged 29 years, Mama's baby of the house. The moment their feet touched the wet sand of the compound, the sky thundered again. They entered the sitting room in silence, the same one she had waited in alone. The velvet chairs were covered in white clothes now. The air was cold, too cold as though something or someone still lived there. Where is the caretaker? Chuka asked. He said he's not stepping foot in this house again. a neighbor replied. Why? He heard her voice at night. Adora scoffed. Nonsense. Her voice wavered. Suddenly, there came a slim man in a dark suit stood in the corner. He held his briefcase like his life depends on it. Barrister Okonkwo, he introduced himself. Your mother instructed me to wait exactly 7 days after her burial before delivering this. He opened the briefcase, pulled out a sealed brown envelope marked, to my children, only when you finally return. Chuka reached for it. The lawyer pulled it back. No, you all must sit and listen together. They obeyed. He unfolded the letter and read, My dear children, I greet you not as a mother, but as a woman who carried fire in her bones while you left her in cold silence. This house is not yours. You are not to sell it. You are not to rent it. You are to live in it for 40 days. Each of you will sleep under this roof, without your phones, without your titles, without your distractions. Only then will you know what I went through, building a home where no one ever came back. Only then will you understand the price of abandonment. Is this a joke? Adora hissed. 40 days, I have meetings, I have children. She's guilt-tripping us from the grave, Uche muttered. She died alone because you didn't come home, Kelechi snapped. And you did? Uche backed back. The room erupted, but the rain kept falling. Each sibling was assigned a room. Kelechi sat outside in the dark with his headphones on. Then, at exactly midnight, the clock in the sitting room struck once. Not just once. Though it hadn't worked in 8 years, and in every room, they each heard the same voice. Soft, familiar, and broken. Why didn't you come home? A flashback of Mama Ebere sitting alone in candlelight, writing in her journal. Today, I mixed the cement myself. My back ached, but I still smiled because I believed they would come for Christmas. No, they didn't. The next morning, Kelechi gathered them outside. I heard her voice. I swear I did. So did I, Adora whispered, trembling. Uche threw his vape into the bush. Chuka took off his suit jacket, and from the garden, Mama's favorite tree, a foul smell began to rise. Kelechi knelt towards the soil. He dipped his fingernails in the earth. There was a foul smell, thick, unnatural. He turned and called out to his siblings, Help me dig. Chuka stood back, arms crossed. Uche hesitated. Adora whispered, What if we are not ready to know? But they all joined, with shovels, with hands, with silence, and then a wooden box, small, sealed, rotted. Uche pulled it out. Inside, they found two things, a black and white photograph of their mother, younger, smiling, holding a baby none of them recognized. Tape recorder, labeled, If anything happens to me, play this again. They played the tape inside the house. Mama's voice cracked to life. If you're hearing this, then I have gone, and the truth can no longer stay buried. I once had a fifth child. Her name was Ifunanya. She was born in shame when I was young and unmarried. My father gave her away while I screamed. I never saw her again, but I never forgot her. I poured my life into you all, hoping that if I gave you everything, you wouldn't abandon me like they abandoned her. But you did. You all left, not because you had to, but because you chose comfort over connection, prestige over presence. You turned my love into a receipt, sent money, but never your heart. This house is not your inheritance, it's your mirror. You are not cursed, you are lonely, and now so am I. Adora collapsed into a chair sobbing. She had a child, we didn't even know. Chuka paced, fist clenched. Chuka looked. Uche stared at the photo. Kelechi looked at the ground. Then came a knock at the gate. A woman in her late 40s, brown-skinned, slim, quiet. She held the exact same photograph in her hand. My name is Ifunanya. This was my mother's house. They stared at her. No one spoke or said a word to her. She didn't ask for money. She didn't cry. She simply walked into the house and sat on the floor. She pulled out a small bundle of roasted groundnuts. She used to sell this, she said, smiling gently, and for the first time, the house felt warm again. Later that night, the siblings met outside. We should give her the house, Kelechi said. We have to. Adora whispered, but Chuka shook his head. Legally, it's ours. She has no papers, no proof, just a story. Uche agreed. Let's renovate it and rent it out. That's what Mama would have wanted. They voted. The house would be put on the market if Unanya was asked. She nodded, didn't protest, just turned and said, God will be her witness, and walked away. That night, the generator caught fire, the inverter exploded, and the newly installed plumbing overflowed into Mama's bedroom. By morning, the compound was flooded, the floor tiles cracked, the roof began to leak, and the neighbor said she saw Mama Ebere standing under the tree again, smiling faintly as if waiting for someone who would never arrive. 6 months later, the house never sold. No one stayed longer than a week. Strange things kept happening. Clocks ticking backward, curtains catching fire, doors locking themselves. Eventually, the village priest declared, this house is not haunted by spirits, it's haunted by sorrow. The children returned abroad and never came back. In a nearby village, if Unanya rented a room, she started selling roasted groundnuts, just like her mother, and every evening. She starts by the roadside, facing the direction of the house, humming softly, eye dry, hearts full, because even though they rejected her, her mother never did. Love is not measured by money, scent, or promise made. It's measured by presence, the kind that stays when no one is watching. If my children ever ask where I went, tell them I stayed home and waited. Moral lessons. Your parents don't want your money. They want you. A phone call, a visit, a hug. Those are worth more than all the bank alerts in the world. Success becomes meaningless when the people who sacrifice for it die, feeling forgotten. You may inherit property, but if you never sowed love, you have no true claim to what it was built with. A house without love is just concrete. A legacy without presence is just paperwork. When was the last time you visited home? Not for a funeral, not for Christmas, but just to sit and listen. What will your loved ones remember you for? Your bank transfers or your empty seat at the table? If your mother died today, would she say she felt loved or abandoned? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you so very much for watching this story. If it touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share and leave a comment. Your support keeps this channel alive. We have many more powerful emotional stories coming your way. Real lessons, deep truths, unforgettable moments. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one. This is Ama's Story Time, where stories speaks louder than words. Bye, besties.